All right, this is the Sports Wallet podcast. Big money tonight. We're going to get into a lot of things. But before we do that, let me introduce myself. I'm TMB. Call me Turtleneck Bets. To my right, we got the namesake of the show, Sports Wallet. And then we got Triple P.
Yeah.
High Pocket Picks, baby. So before we get into some picks, I think there's some big news that a lot of people have been talking about. Every time I put on the radio, anytime I go online, everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers. So what's your guys' take on it? What you think about Aaron Rodgers, man?
I mean, I would love to see him go to the Jets. I think his time in Green Bay is over. I think, they have a track record of doing things like that. They got rid of Brett Favre back in the day. And Jordan Love been sitting there for a couple of years. I think it's about time. He leaves Green Bay. He has this dark retreat. I don't know what it is. You can tell me what's a dark retreat?
He's out here doing shrooms out there.
That's I thought he was doing drugs. He's butt naked somewhere in a room with the lights off. I'm like, what was a dark retreat?
In this scenario,
dark retreat.
In this scenario,
about to do a real dark retreat into New York.
Rodgers really. I thought he was going to the Amazon or something. I was like, wait, he's like in Oregon.
Fuck is that?
Anyway, but
going to Kanye.
Aaron Rodgers really holds all the cards here. And, dark retreat seems to be kind of dark. Might be something like the black hole in there. So I think he's going to the Raiders personally. Or I could even see him retiring because he's just a nut.
He's either retiring and really doing the black hole and he's gone. Yeah. Well, I could see him going to the Raiders. I don't think he can survive in New York.
I don't think he
can't survive
Not
New
even
York.
necessarily that he couldn't survive. I don't think he wants anything that could question his legacy. So he doesn't want to come to New York for 2 years and have people talking shit and all this kind of stuff.
Especially in Brett Favre's shoes, too.
Yeah.
He's been in his shadow his whole career.
Yeah, but he's better. He's better. I think he's better.
Right.
And, Brett Favre, I think, made the playoffs when he came to the Jets.
He was doing good when they got hurt.
That'll be something else to compare. You didn't make the playoffs.
I think Rodgers needs another championship under his belt.
I don't think he has the look. Well, the thing is, I don't think the Jets have the luxury of waiting.
Yeah, that'd be the biggest issue.
And to be honest with you, I'm a Raiders fan, so I've seen this firsthand. The Jets don't necessarily, obviously Rodgers is the prize, but they don't necessarily need Rodgers level play to make the playoffs. I think Carr is more than serviceable. To give an idea, the 9 years he was in with the Raiders, they were 32nd in D, 32nd in sacks, and 32nd in turnovers. So he hasn't had a whole lot to work with.
You said it yourself, though. He's serviceable. It might get you in the playoffs, but he ain't going to win you nothing.
Okay, but you could be left holding the bag, though. Roger said, I'm good. I'm not going there.
That would be the main issue.
Especially since he's older. You never know. He gets hurt.
Yeah, and they got to wait till like June 2nd before Green Bay really makes a trade, which is a couple months away.
How can you get your team hyped up to sell season tickets to the fans? Carr went and signed somewhere else. Roger says, I'm good. And now you're rolling. You're trading for Tannehill or signing Jimmy G.
You mentioned season tickets. They both raised their prices. The Jets and Green Bay raised their ticket prices.
But as you've seen last year, though, even a couple of games where Mike White played pretty good for them, they seem competent play. Like I think they're kind of set elsewhere, and they're not paying no one because they're on rookie deals. They kind of need to make it happen soon. You know what I mean?
That's the key. You gotta make it happen.
So
you gotta strike while the iron's hot, man.
You see him going from one black hole into another one, huh?
Well, that's what I'm hoping for because we're up.
This guy's a dark guy.
We're up. You know it's creek without a paddle. If not, because I don't know what the hell we're doing.
The black hole is the New York Jets quarterback position.
I love the cutting of Carr, getting no compensation and having no real plan once Brady retires.
Yeah, you're gonna miss Carr unless you get somebody serviceable in there to replace him.
They're gonna try to sell Jimmy G, who in my opinion's worse than Carr. But
yeah, I think he's overrated. That defense definitely made him look a lot better than what he.
We stink, so whatever, man.
All right, look, that's enough.
Rodgers is the pipe dream. Yeah. I gotta stay with that.
Listen,
I got nothing else.
I don't see Rodgers coming to New York. I do see him going to Las Vegas if he goes anywhere. But let's get into some NBA talk, man. What you guys see the second half of the season? Who you like making the playoffs? Who would you put the bag on, Sportswallet?
Well, I'll lead it off because you got a really good pick here for the playoffs.
Yeah, something that Triple P's a big fan of.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, my favorite pick for the playoffs to make the playoffs would be the Los Angeles Lakers. They right now plus 175 odds to make the playoffs, which I think is crazy. Don't waste time. Get the picks in now. There's no reason to wait till next week, 2 weeks from now when the odds get lower and your payout will be less. The Lakers, I believe, under LeBron James and Anthony Davis will get it done and make the playoffs. Put your picks in now.
Put them in.
Love the pick.
Put them in now. Go ahead, Triple P.
For me, this is pretty much an odds play, and they've been tough all year. I actually have the best record against the spread this year, which is OKC, meaning even when they lose, they always keep it close and never really out of anything too much. To give you an idea, a couple weeks ago, they were plus 570. They're now plus 450. So the betting trend's looking that way as well. They're 28 and 29, currently in the 10th spot, only one game back of the 8th spot. Pretty jumbled up at the bottom there. SGA, like a lot, I think he's really shown himself to be a superstar this year. 6th most efficient player in the league, 31, 6, and 5. And I like their supporting cast as well. I think Josh Giddey's real good. Isaiah Joe's a sniper. They pick up Saric at the deadline. You know, I just kind of like what they're going on. I like the odds for it.
Nah, that's a good bet too. So
Oklahoma, definitely a good team. You know, they just a little young in my book. That would be the only thing I'll be worried about.
Yeah, in the second, and towards the end of the season, people start stepping up defense. I know we spoke about it off camera, but people step up defense, and that's why that Lakers pick is a nice pick because you know LeBron and Anthony Davis, that defense they can step up that defense
and
they can lock down.
They're legacy guys. I don't see LeBron, you know, really wanting to finish another year out the playoffs.
Yeah,
you know, he wants it bad. I know that.
Yeah, and that can go into our next thing. What do you guys like total wise? Do you like anything? Do you favor anything on the totals?
For me, since we were just talking about the Lakers, I think I like the under on a lot of Lakers games. They haven't been great in defensive efficiency. They're I think 18th in the league. All I have to do with AD miss a big chunk of time, but they got the time is now. They, like Fred was just mentioned, like Sportswallet was just mentioned, we really got no room for error. They're going to get maximum effort, and I think the pickup of Vanderbilt's really underrated. It could stagger with Davis when Davis not on the floor. Yeah. We got a rimper taker out there. Gives good energy. And
I like the under a lot in the Lakers because I feel like a lot of these totals are going to be high.
Yeah, their lines are inflated due to how they've been playing defense in the first half. So they might keep those going as a trend until the Lakers start showing they can actually play some defense.
A little bit of an inside tip to everybody: you got to be ahead of the sports books. So that's the best way to handicap. You got to be ahead of these trends. So.
Yeah, because they'll catch on quick.
They'll catch on quick, and that's why you got to get the money in on the Lakers early. You got to get the money in on OKC early because if you hold on too long, the sports books, they catch up. Odds aren't as good, so it's important to get in your picks early. So besides that, let's talk about some Friday picks. What you guys like Friday wise?
My favorite pick for Friday would be Knicks against Wizards. The Knicks are one of my favorite teams in the second half to look out for. Check their lines. Make sure you're up to date to what they're doing. They're a betting trend for me. I'm going with the Knicks money line over the Washington Wizards. Let's get it.
You ain't say nothing about my jacket.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Being that you got the jacket on.
You had that pick in your back pocket. You don't say nothing about the jacket.
Listen, I'm loving the jacket, the hat. He's already in Knicks mode.
Yeah,
you would think I told him before the show that I was picking the Knicks, So I guess that might be a betting trend of his as well, the way his outfit looks today.
As well, just to make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable, because I'm not a homer, I actually do approve of that pick as well. I like Knicks. I don't think the Knicks should be plus 110 in that game at all.
Doesn't like Washington.
As one of my fades, my second fade, but not the one we're going to mention. But Washington was a team that I was kind of like considering.
Are you talking about fading in the second half?
Yeah.
But I'm talking what you like. What's your favorite pick on Friday?
Yeah, my favorite pick on Friday is the Cavs. So they're a 1-point underdog at Atlanta right now. I think two things are making that line the way it is. One, they're playing it back to back. They're young enough. They came off the break. I hope it doesn't affect them too much.
Yeah.
The second thing is Nate McMillan, who was the coach of the Hawks, just got fired recently. Tends to galvanize teams a lot when they have an interim guy come in, play with a little bit more energy. I think those two things are affecting the line. I feel like the line should be more like 4, something like that. So I think to be getting with the Cavs being favorite, so For the Cavs to be underdog, it's minus 105 if you just take them to win. And if you watch the Cavs at all this year, I think they've been one of the most consistent teams. They've played good pretty much the whole time. They won 7 out of the last 8 games. Number 1 defensive efficiency in the league, and 10th offensively. So they're pretty well balanced all around.
I agree with you. I kind of like the pick. The only concern I would have is they coming off the back-to-back, like you said. They also played a good Denver team, so they didn't come off a weak matchup. But I like your pick. If I wasn't taking the Knicks, that would probably be my second favorite pick of the night.
Yeah. What's the total in that game?
I don't have it here.
Between who? Knicks and
between
Cavs.
the Cavs and the Hawks.
Cavs and
I know
Hawks.
what I do see another betting trend I have noticed is usually teams going in on a back-to-back, they play a lot less defense. And the Hawks are known to put up some points, and the Cavs can put up some points. So
only thing you'll be worried about some tired legs from the Cavs. I wouldn't be worried about Atlanta, but the Cavs ran tonight.
That's what I'm saying.
Denver.
So that defense might be a little lackadaisical.
Could be.
You can see the Hawks putting up some points.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending on what the line is, that could definitely be a good over pick. So
they don't have the under over yet.
Nah, because the Cavs.
Knicks they do. Knicks is 224.5.
Okay,
but not for the Cavs game.
All right, I guess we'll see what that line is, and then we'll go from there. So last thing we're going to talk about is teams that you don't like in the second half. What teams would you fade? I know Triple P, you kind of touched on it real quick, so you can go into what teams you want to fade in the second half.
Yeah, so like I was mentioning, I considered the Wizards. Sportswallet was talking about his pick, but not ultimately the team I went with was the Utah Jazz. I think there's a lot of things going against them. Just even going all the way back to the offseason, some of the moves that the front office made, it seems like they weren't even really trying to compete too much this year. They traded away the 2 big stars. They traded away Mitchell, traded Gobert, got a great deal back, by the way. So I don't blame them for doing that at all.
Picks,
yeah, that
got
was
a ransom
right
back, King's ransom back for Gobert.
Yeah.
But anyway, that trend's kind of even continued at the deadline. They shipped off more of their veterans, got rid of Conley, got rid of Vanderbilt, got rid of Beasley. Guys were all playing. It's not like they weren't playing, you know what I mean? And then two stats kind of behind it. They've been 26th so far this year in D. They lost Vanderbilt, which is probably their best defensive player. They were 4th in offensive rating. They lost a starting point guard who was averaging 7.5 assists. Now they're going to try to run Taylor Horton-Tucker at point, which I think will be a fail. So they 17 out of the last 23 games are all against teams that are either in the playoffs or fighting against the playoffs.
I wonder what the line is.
That would be my fade team
for the host city of the All-Star game not making the playoffs. So I feel like every host city. I feel like when I've been watching the All-Star games, they're never really in it.
Charles Barkley was complaining about how boring it was there. So
I mean,
not a Mormon.
I don't think Utah wants to win, so that's kind of why I agree with you. I think their front office, rather than tank and not make the playoffs, is also one of the teams I see falling out due to those things. I see the Lakers moving up and they're falling down their list. My favorite team to bet against in the second half would be the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, they have one of my favorite players in the whole league in D-Lil. I just don't think he has much help behind him after these trades.
You know what this reminds me of? Sportswallet. This reminds me of when you bet with the Eagles.
Against my
your heart.
Yeah, against my heart.
So I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm a Giant fan, so I hate the Eagles. I should never pick them ever in life. That's why they screwed
that you had that was wrong.
Yeah.
And Turtleneck Bets had the right picks on that one too.
Yeah, definitely. I should have went with you guys.
That's how I feel about this Portland Trailblazer pick, man.
I didn't want to think with my heart. Because sometimes your heart,
your heart is right because you've been on the money, man.
My heart was right on that one, yeah.
The supporting cast is kind of trash. They might have one of the worst.
But the supporting cast.
I just seen him play before the break, and his second best player was Cam Reddish, and I was like, oh man, guys double teaming D-Lil. He's still trying to get to the basket.
Just here a little,
not hitting threes.
For D-Lil though, I really admire how competitive he is.
You got
his willingness to do whatever it takes to win. He's just like an old school player.
Yeah, that's
Like
why
an
he's my
MJ.
favorite.
If you don't like D'Lo, you don't like
90,
competitiveness.
Like
Oh, you don't like
92,
90s basketball.
93.
He's the last
like
of a dying
he's
breed.
about,
that
he's
guy.
about that life.
Yeah,
I
he's
can
dying
see
breed.
him willing his team to be better than what they really are.
I think he's tired, man. The guy's about to have a back injury. He's been trying to will his team for the last 8 years.
Yeah,
Right.
carrying no, because he's been how hard he's been carrying him. You know, I love him to
And
death because
need a
he's
hip
so
replacement soon.
loyal. But you know, I wish he would request a trade finally.
At this point, I don't think
We'll
nobody.
get him a supporting cast,
Nobody would
man.
fault
It's
him.
not gonna happen, bro.
Nobody
Like,
wants to live in Portland.
At this point, nobody will fault him for
first
requesting
round
a trade.
picks. You know, they
Yeah, I
traded
mean-
Josh Hardaway. He was heartbroken when that happened. Obviously,
Yeah.
one of the leaders on the team. Also a good addition, even though I love him with the Knicks.
Every offseason, like they miss on the big whatever, and they're like, "Oh, here's Nurkic," or like,
Yeah.
here's like this second, like,
We're
no,
gonna
man,
give you
like,
help, and we don't give you help.
Yeah, we give you like a
But we're gonna
second
give
level
you
guy
help.
who's like a fringe all star, but you're not gonna go nowhere. Like,
Sad situation was going on there in Portland.
All right, look, I hate to end it on a sour note with our teams that we're fading, but we're gonna wrap this one up. We'll talk about. Let me wrap up some of the picks that we had. We like the Knicks to bet with in the second half of the season. On Friday's games, if you're seeing this today, we like the Knicks.
Put
We
your
also
bag
like
on
we also like the Cavs. For myself, I like that over once the line comes out. As long as that line's under 240, I really do like that over. As long as it's under a 240, I like a 236 line, 237 line. I can see that coming out for the Cavs and the Hawks. Anything under 240, I like that over in that game. So those are some of the picks we had here. Don't throw the bag on the Jazz. Don't throw the bag on the Trailblazers, even though my man Sportswallet is going against his heart and D-Lil.
Broken.
But don't throw the bag on those guys. If you need a good cigar, make sure you come down to Legend Cigar Emporium in Greenbrook. You mentioned Sportswallet.
Get a free cigar.
Get yourself a free cigar. And like always, make sure you throw the goddamn bag on it. See you
Let's
next
go.
week, man.